Welcome to the Morning Report. My name is Willie Lawson, and this is day two of our series, Everyday Patriots, 5 ways to support conservative voices. Now, yesterday we covered the basics, subscribing, sharing, and showing up. But today we're going to step into the real trenches of cultural engagement, speaking up where you stand. You don't need a podcast to change the culture. You just need a voice, and you have one of those, and the courage to use it in everyday spaces, at work, at school, heck, at the dinner table, in a barbershop. Oh, yeah. Uh, by the time you see me, I will have been to the barbershop. There are going to be changes. In the break room or in your next Uber ride, we're talking about courageous conversations, the kind that start with one voice refusing to bow to the narrative. Okay, let's start with that uncomfortable truth. The other side wins by keeping us quiet. The left doesn't have better arguments. Well, just the opposite, really. They have louder ones, though. And they've trained good people to stay silent because we don't want to be called problematic, toxic. Anytime that they have to push through something, you're a toxic person or they're in a toxic environment. Oh, give me a break. Or racist. When I had a conversation with somebody early in my podcast career, and what he said was that until white people uh, stop being scared of being called racist, things would just get worse. Jesse Lee Peterson said that to me on a podcast back in 2008, 2009. And it didn't make any sense to me, but it's true. And so until white people get, stop being afraid of being called racist, then things will get worse. And we've seen that. Or now you're extreme. If you think men can't have babies, then you're extreme. Oh, really? If you think that a 2-year-old can decide their gender or can't decide their gender, then you're extreme. If you think that men should be competing against women in boxing, combat sports, and swimming, or any sport really, other than maybe playing cards, which is not a sport, then you're extreme, really. But here's the secret. Most people agree with you. They're just waiting for someone else to say it first. Your courage makes room for others. That's how movements grow. Not from mass rallies. What we're doing then is we're sort of outsourcing our courage, but from one-on-one moments of conviction. Now, speaking up doesn't mean yelling and screaming, and although that inside you might want to do that. And it doesn't mean debating every coworker. I was at Ken Mayo's house, and some of you know Ken Mayo, at a birthday party a number of years ago. And someone came to me and said, "So, Willie, what do you do when you're debating liberals?" And I told them, I don't. I just don't. I just do what I do. So, it doesn't mean that you get into a heated debate with everybody you know. What it means is being anchored in truth and willing to say it calmly and confidently. Talk about crime in your city without blaming the system. Challenge the ideas that boys can become girls. Push back on economic policies that destroy small business. No, you don't have all the answers. Just ask the questions. Share a story. I look at the analytics and why do you guys are about my age? You have stories, share them. Offer a different point of view. Just let people know that you exist and you're not embarrassed by it. Okay, so what does this look like in public? A parent calmly telling a school board their kid won't be learning CRT. I'm sorry, I will not allow my child to be subjected to the things that this school district is promoting. I will not. An employee politely asking why there's a Pride Month policy, but not a Veterans Day acknowledgement. Now, I told you, when you get to be my age, I have a story. I was talking to someone last night who works for a very large corporation here where I live, and they were completely, you know, upset, thinking that their company's participation in Pride Month was at the very least inappropriate. And not that that person has a problem necessarily with gay people, the personage, the people, they do have a problem with their lifestyle and how they live their lives, but not the individuals, which is a nuanced point. I suppose, because I share that very same point. Working in the entertainment industry, you happen to work sometimes with people who are gay or lesbian, and almost entirely, I've worked with people who are gay, or when I worked with people who are gay or lesbian, I didn't necessarily have a problem with them as we're doing the job, but their lifestyle, you know, no. So when your company that you work for is endorsing basically a lifestyle, you think, well, I don't think that's appropriate. I don't think they should. I mean, when your company goes all rainbow bright, has a float in the local pride parade, where all the gay, lesbian, transgendered, LGBTQ, AI plus are on the float, you know, in their leather gear and ball gags, but not even an acknowledgement of Veterans Day or Memorial Day. Barely acknowledge an acknowledgement of the Fourth of July, Independence Day. Ask that question. Now, what will happen is that some people at your job will look at you with the side eye, but all you did was ask the question. All you freaking did was ask the question. If you're a college student, now I don't have many college students on the channel, but if you're a college student, that you're just not going to clap for some cancel culture. When all the people that you're around decide that we're no longer going to do blah 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 blah, that person is canceled. Yay! You're like, not for me. I like her. I like her. I think what she said in this particular instance was correct. Going against the grain. If you're a church leader, defend biblical truth in staff meetings. So many churches, I y'all, I get it. It's hard to say, right now, it's hard to stay afloat. There's a reality for churches staying afloat. Frankly, you got to have people come in the door because you have to pay the electric bill, you have to pay the gas bill, you have to pay. Some of the churches have mortgages. Woo, y'all got some mortgage. You have to. So it makes sense that you can't, spend every service offending and hacking off everybody who comes in the door. That's really not the way to do it. That's not what churches are for. Churches are for equipping the saints. So are you equipping the saints? You're not going to be able to save everybody. You're not. You're not. You're not. But you can equip the saints by making sure that you are defending biblical truth. You've not slid off the road into the ditch. And you can defend, let me help some of y'all. You can defend biblical truth and preach biblical truth and still have a cafe serving coffee in your bookstore. You can. You can. And you can sell Bibles in your bookstore, and that money from the bookstore and cafe that has snacks and coffee, and that money goes to missions, and that money goes to the youth program. You can have both. You can. Those things are not mutually exclusive. You can have air conditioning in your church. Anyway, I'm off on a tangent. These are not TikTok moments. These are legacy moments. They won't go viral, but they will change lives. And when enough people do it, the silent majority becomes the vocal resistance. You don't need a mic. You don't. You don't need followers. You need guts and the truth. Speak up in love. Speak up with facts. Speak up with conviction. So here's your challenge for today. Share a conservative truth today in a real conversation, not online, but a real conversation. Say something at work. Say something at school. Say something at the store that challenges the narrative. Then maybe post a bold thought that's been sitting in your drafts. It's your voice. Use it. Let it get louder. All right. Day 3 is tomorrow. We'll talk about money moves and how funding freedom beats feeding the beast. My name is Willie Lawson, and this is the Morning Report. Do we see you again? Go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself. We'll see you when we see you. Bye-bye now.